Write about how you choose colors when dyeing or blending fibers. How do color and texture express emotion, story, or season? So welcome to episode 9 of the Wool and Spinning Vlogmas. If you are just checking out my videos and you're new here, you might want to check out episode 1 first, which is linked for you down below. I'll be releasing these videos every other day so that my production schedule isn't completely overwhelming, and I hope that you enjoy them. Let's talk about today's prompt, which is a great review of our year of color that we explored in the year 2023. We spent the entire year talking about color in the teaching content and on the Wool Circle, which is available to patrons of our community. Because the color conversation continued in the years following, this fall we were able to introduce Color Mania with Dion Carter to continue the conversation about color. It is meaningful that we have a color prompt in this Vlogmas series, and using all of the color knowledge I've gained in the past few years, I've tried to synthesize how I approach color now, which is different from how I approached it in the past. So let's get into it. Also, all of the links for everything that I just mentioned around Color Mania, Color Maniacs, which is the dedicated Zoom group, everything is all linked for you down below. Color is not simply applied to fiber, it is invited in. Hand spinners and dyers learn quickly that color behaves differently on wool than on paper or screen. The fiber itself carries structure, crimp, and sheen, and these physical properties shape how color reflects, absorbs, and layers. Each fleece or roving is not merely a canvas, it is a collaborator. When choosing colors for dyeing or blending, I begin not with a palette, but with observation. What is the fiber telling me? Long wools with high luster like Wensleydale or Teeswater reflect light along their smooth scales, making bright, clear hues appear jewel-like. Fine wools like Merino or Cormo, dense and matte, diffuse light, softening hues into a natural bloom. Even before color enters the equation, the fiber determines whether a color will shine like glass or glow like velvet. Color is chemistry, physics, and feeling. In dyeing, color is controlled through 3 measurable variables: hue, the wavelength of the color, so red versus blue versus yellow; value, how light or dark that hue is; and saturation, how intense or muted the color appears. Experienced dyers work with value first. 2 colors of different hue but identical value will blend into a visually unified mass, useful for subtlety and disastrous when the aim is contrast. A braid dyed with medium value teal, medium value plum, and medium value forest may look vivid in comb top, but when spun becomes visually flat. Contrast in value, not hue, determines whether colors remain distinct in yarn or disappear into each other. Saturation influences emotional tone, so highly saturated hues feel declarative. Desaturated hues evoke memory, mist, or season. A grayed down green becomes winter light. A muted ochre becomes late autumn lark. Color is not simply chosen, it is measured. Protein fibers absorb dye through ionic bonding. When the pH of the dye bath is lowered using citric acid or vinegar, dye molecules bind to positively charged amino groups along the keratin chain. The longer the dye remains in solution before, quote, striking, the more complex the color layering becomes. A fast strike creates crisp segmentation. A slow strike creates blurred transitions. Layering dyes is like whispering between the fibers. Yellow under gray becomes green only in places. Blue over brown deepens into stormy teal. Red layered lightly over gold becomes apricot. The story emerges not from the final color, but from the strata beneath it. Blending fibers at the drum carder, blending board, or with hand combs uses optical mixing, not chemical reaction. Instead of dyes merging in solution, tiny filaments of color lie beside each other and the eye averages them at a distance. Yellow and red dye in solution means orange. It's chemical mixing. But yellow and red fibers carded together equals movement, optical mixing. This is also seen in the dots of color. Up close, the colors remain distinct. From afar, they harmonize. Blending methods influence mood. Combing produces aligned fibers, crisp, clean color transitions. Carding produces a heathered, painterly texture, atmospheric and emotional. Texture becomes narrative. A combed gradient feels like horizon. A carded bat feels like memory. A year of color study teaches that seasons are not a single palette, but a shifting relationship between value, saturation, and temperature. Winter is high contrast, low saturation. Indigo shadows on snow. Spring is high saturation, chlorophyll green that looks impatient more than green. Summer, heat softens saturation, sun dazed neutrals and bleached grasses. Autumn is low saturation, rich lichen, wet cedar, a palette of memory more than brilliance. Choosing color becomes an act of attention. The world hands us the palette, we only need to pay attention. And Dion spoke about this extensively in the first couple of episodes of Color Mania. Again, those are available through patreon.com/woolenspinning/join. Color speaks in feeling before it speaks in words. Deep navy can carry depth, stillness, or grief. Grade green expresses endurance. Rust communicates warmth and gratitude, and texture amplifies emotion. For example, depending on your point of view, a worsted comb top might feel decisive, whereas a woolen carded bat might feel reflective. We aren't just dyeing wool, we're articulating feeling through fiber and twist. Industrial dyeing strives for reproducibility, calibrated vats, Pantone values, identical results every time. Hand dyeing accepts variability as truth. Sometimes the dye splits, sometimes a section holds back color and remains pale. Those moments are not flaws, they are evidence of the hand. In a world of uniform color, hand-dyed fiber is sometimes the last place where color can still surprise us. We don't dye to control color, we dye to experience it. I can't wait to see what you make if you decide to delve into the world of dyeing in fiber. It's an incredible ride. Dion shares her dyeing experiments in Color Mania throughout the months, which is available to all patrons of the community through Patreon. Oftentimes, her experiments involve blending color, but when she gets her dye pots out, it's a hotbed of activity. If this is a topic you'd like to learn more about, please tune into Color Mania each month for more color tips and tricks, as well as blending and dyeing. I've put some of the links down below in the show notes, and you just have to join to access them. So as we did in day 7 of our Vlogmas series, I included an extra section here at the end of the vlog to summarize our ideas, since it is more of a content-driven vlog rather than strictly a reflection this time. Let's start with how color behaves on fiber and what it depends on. So the fiber structure. So long wools have those smooth scales, they reflect the light and therefore they create brilliant color. Fine wools have that dense fuzzy crimp and they diffuse the light and therefore soft color really blooms. Value contrast, light versus dark matters more than hue. For distinct stripes or marls, choose value contrast. For subtle transitions, match your values. For optical mixing on combs and carders, colors mix visually, not chemically. Tweed, heather, and depth come from mixing complementary hues. For saturation and emotion, your saturated colors are going to be bold, youthful, declarative. Desaturated are your memory tones, atmosphere, seasons. Think about your end use. Color theory matters differently for weaving, for knitting, for felting, for crocheting. Weaving will amplify contrast. Knitting can often soften and distribute it. The perfect palette is the one that expresses what you meant, not the one that behaves perfectly. Explore and experiment, and I can't wait to see your ideas expressed in your spinning practice. For more about woolen spinning in our community, please have a look in the down bar. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can find me on Instagram as Woolen Spinning. Check out Patreon to join the community at patreon.com/woolenspinning/join. And I will see you all in the next one, episode 10, which is the line between craft and art. This was a really fun one to start to think about, and I hope that you enjoy it. Until then, happy spinning. Bye for now.